What's up, Sooner Nation? Fresh off of a three-peat in the Women's College World Series Championship, we are here tonight for our third straight Sooner Surge at 6. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button, share with those Sooner fans that you know. Join and subscribe this channel as we continue to produce OU content daily. Today's topic at Sooner Surge at 6 will be clutch plays in OU sports history. Last night, we saw maybe what we could say maybe is the top, because of the moment of where this was, the stakes that were at a stake there with 0-0 game and 2 runners on base and Storako in, and girl hits the ball center field and Jada Coleman leads defense. That play just made us think about top plays in OU history. That's got to be one of the ones. Now, we're not talking about best plays in OU history. We're talking about top plays in top moments, clutch situations. So, Jay, what do you got?
I got a few. I mean, you could go way back. You could go back to the Keith Jackson reverse against Nebraska. I think Nebraska was ranked number 2 and everything. It was a huge play. But I'm going to say a more recent one, and maybe for our listeners too. I mean, I was at this game in person. It's a massive stakes game. It was a Big 12 championship, and it was Kyler Murray to tight end Grant Calcaterra, one-handed in the end zone. I mean, I don't know if you remember that, Jeremy, but that was a dot. And the timing of that was so huge, followed up by Trey Brown, I believe, with the safety right after it. But that play, that dot he threw to Calcaterra, I mean, was money. And the game was, I mean, it was so close. The game was on the line, winding down there. I mean, just a huge play. So I would say that. Obviously, like you said, Jada Coleman last night was just insane. That play prevents 3 runs, such a huge play in the game. Also, you know, everybody is an OU fan. If you don't know the Roy Williams play, can you even say you're an OU fan? Because of the Superman play from Roy Williams.
7-3, and that game was 7-3.
Yeah,
they're like Chrissy Sims was getting ready to go try to lead them on a last drive. There were about 2 minutes, I think, left in that game, and he came over the top, and everyone knows play. Another huge moment there, and the one you picked out with the Big 12 championship game, because you got the Caleb Williams where he took the ball from against Kansas, but that was Kansas. Come on, we're talking about championship series and games. You mentioned Keith Jackson on the reverse. There was another Keith Jackson from Jamel Holloway, 71-yard touchdown down the post route, middle of the field in a championship game. You also had, here's one that I remember, and this maybe isn't going to be, it's not one you would think about as like, ooh, the biggest clutch things, but to me it was the Big 12 title game to get them to the Orange Bowl, K-State, Big 12 championship game. Tim Duncan made a massive 48-yard, I don't think it was 50-yard field goal, which was very clutch. And also years past, a guy by the name of Stephen Parker. If you remember, TCU was going for 2 to beat OU in Norman, and Stephen Parker batted the ball away. That was a massive play in a massive moment.
Yeah, and I mean, we can name many moments, and I just had one. Hang on one second.
Yeah, I think that Keith Jackson, we've said a couple of times, you had a couple of big moments in Bedlam plays that I can remember with Blake Bell to Jalen Saunders. You also had Bradford going over the top and twisting and spinning. Those are plays we remember in our head. I'm not sure they would be top plays because of top moments, though.
Yeah, but one of the top moments I think in OU history was their last national championship against Florida State in football. But that season, one of the biggest plays of the year, we've talked about in other podcasts, Torrance Marshall interception. 35-31 at A&M. Huge play in that game. The moment, I mean, you can't have a bigger moment. As you remember that, they went through that, I think they called it Red October, where they went through those 3 games, and then they still had to go to A&M, and they just massive play. Clutch.
If you remember that season, it may have been the season after, but I think it was that season where freshman Derek Strait up against the tight end against OSU, goes up and bats the ball, climbs the ladder.
Yeah.
That was massive. That was the season. Derek Strait made several big plays and big moments.
But, you know, when you talk about the Roy Williams play and how iconic just that photo is of him going over the top, this Jada Coleman one from last night's going to be that. Her making that catch, that photo is going to be plastered everywhere. It's one of the most iconic probably in OU, history there. So, guys, I mean, any other ones here? Or these are just off the top of our head. So these are off the top of our head. So make sure, guys, leave a comment. Tell us maybe some clutch performances, not performance, but clutch plays in OU history that you've seen. I'd love to see you guys have some comments about it. But anything else, Jeremy? All right. So once again, make sure you subscribe, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, and we'll catch y'all tomorrow. Boomer.